7762. Again, 888 Only one number that you have to remember, and that is 888 And no guest today. So this is all you, your show today, and love to hear from you. But I'm going to start with, like there's blunders that you have. You go back there's always kind of like sports blunders that Billy Buckner. You think about those mistakes that have happened. But yesterday we were talking. Normally we don't talk a lot of high school sports here on the Nick Brown Show, but we are today. And I don't know if you had a chance to see it, and I know those in Alabama did not, as the Pillowy Fluff Delicious Daylight Donuts make their way into the studio this morning. Certainly appreciate Preacher Man bringing those in every Saturday, and the great folks at Daylight Donuts. Of course, the wedding cake is my favorite, but we've kind of backed off of the wedding cake for a little bit, get in shape. But yesterday at a high school baseball game, you had a walk-off walk, bases loaded, tie game, and it comes down to, I think, a 3-2 pitch. And the walk occurs. Runner on third crosses home plate. And dugout runs out onto the field because you're in the state tournament, and it is a great day. You have won. And as the Catholic Baton Rouge was even playing yesterday, we'll bring in the cheer guy. At 3-2.
They were playing the Brother Martin Crusaders.
The Brother Martin Crusaders. So the Brother Martin Crusaders, and the guy that got the walk did not go touch first base. And you even hear the announcer. If you look, he goes, he's got to go to first base. He's got to touch first base. He never made it to first base. And so the walk-off walk run did not count. And so they had to go into extra innings.
Yeah, they went all the way down to, I believe they went down to the 15th inning, and were able to walk it off in the bottom of the 15th.
So the team that originally won the game due to the walk-off walk, that the run did not count, they eventually won the game, Catholic Baton Rouge.
They still eventually won, started off in the 9th, and then was able to, they were out in the 15th.
So there you go, Catholic Baton Rouge. But like a sports blunder, like it goes to what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to go in, take care of it, you get the walk, hustle down to first base, and he did not do that. And I'm looking at those sports blunders that you have seen through the years. But with that, we're going to go to Chuckopedia this morning. Chuckopedia, how are you?
Hello, how are you all doing? A good Saturday morning to you all on May 16, 2026. And, a lot of graduations taking place, and a shout out to all the graduates out there. And I know they pursue what they're going to pursue. And a segue in what I was about to talk about, when I talked to you last Saturday, I tell you, in the SWAC softball tournament that Florida A&M Rattlers beat the Southern University Jaguars, Lady Jaguars, to advance to the NCAA regionals. And and by the way, the coach at Florida A&M is your fellow alumnus, Nick. Brittany Beal, she's an alumnus of Auburn. And they ran into trouble yesterday in the regionals to the University of Florida regionals in Gainesville, Florida. They lost 12-0 in the University of Florida, but they play again today, and in that elimination game. But and also a shout out to Brittany Williams. It was the Battle of the Bricks. Though the name Brittany is spelled differently, but Brittany Williams did a great job. She's SWAC Coach of the Year, and they made it to the SWAC championship game. And by the way, she's a graduate. She's from Zachary, a graduate of West Kentucky. By the way, her sister is head softball coach at the University of Illinois, Tyra Perry. But it was just some great softball, and it's great to see what's going on and what's going on in baseball. And a shout out to the North Louisiana schools that have won state baseball championship. That shows you that we're a football area, but showing we play some great baseball as well. And it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen on the football side in high school football. Benji Lewis is now in administration in Ouachita Parish Schools after leading Ouachita to the state championship. And Joe Spatafora is going to Monticello, Arkansas to coach at a high school there. But that'll be my landing gear. I didn't mean to go a long time.
Well, no. I tell you what, you missed out on it. The Grambling went down to Daytona Beach, Florida, and defeated Bethune-Cookman yesterday, 7-2. They lost the first one 23-1. So Davin Pierre and company have a chance to win that series today.
It's a pretty good comeback.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. You're right, and Grambling lost. It was 23-1 to Bethune-Cookman, but Grambling came back and won. And Davin Pierre has done a great job. Got some great coaches in that conference, like him and Jonathan Hernandez at Bethune-Cookman, and Chris Crenshaw is coming around at Southern University in Baton Rouge, and they had many others out there. And it just shows you there's some great baseball. Sometimes you don't know where these guys might go with their baseball careers. They coaching careers. They could end up there at one of the largest schools, or they could be in Major League Baseball. That'll be my next landing gear.
Well, hey, I tell you what, you've landed that plane twice. You have a great weekend, and as always, appreciate you listening and calling in to the Nick Brown Show.
All right, you all have a great Saturday.
All right, you can call just like Chuckopedia did at 888-993-7762. That is the Origin Bank hotline and text line to get into the game. Of course, you heard the voice of the cheer guy this morning, but you look at it, sports blunders. Like, why not? Like, go. The other day I was at a college game, and to be honest with you, it was the Heinz Eagles, and they had taken RJ out from catching. Catcher dropped third strike. First base was unoccupied, so the guy, the hitter, just ran down to first base and never made a throw from the catcher position. Like, you have those moments where you just forget what you were doing. So
Leon Lett back in the day.
Yeah, that's right, you Cowboy fans coming in. Biggest sports blunder. Is that the biggest one you've ever seen? That is the voice of the preacher man, and I will say that your ties are going well to steroids and HGH. I mean, you're really like this lifting weights extraordinaire. You're like a Hulk. You're like a pale Hulk.
Another one. It wasn't much a player, but a coaching blunder was, and this guy's a great coach. They made it to the championship game this year, University of Miami. But last year when they had that, I think it was last year, they had the game won and had to take a knee, ran the play, fumbled, and ended up losing the ball game.
Would you go Rick Pitino not covering the inbounder against Duke? Like, I was always taught, always cover the guy inbounding the basketball.
Yeah, you put your tall guy throwing that in because they knew what they were going to try and do.
So I think that is, we're looking at sports blunders this morning.
Remember, was it Chris Webber in the timeout?
Oh, yes. I was at the late Tommy Joe Eagles house in Auburn. Funny story. Not a funny story for me, embarrassing story. You go through college, you break up, and you had someone that, broke your heart, whatever. So you went your other way from the young lady. So now I'm in the dining hall, and they walk in. I dump my tray into my lap. It's one of those things where, you're like, okay, this is embarrassing. You got to remove yourself from the situation. Well, all the girls walk in. I spilled the tray in my lap. It was an embarrassing moment. So I just left, and that's kind of guy late Coach Eagles were. Like I just showed up at his house. It was funny because his family was out of town, and so I actually watched the game with him at that moment and saw that, and he could see that it was coming. But yeah, that would definitely be one.
I remember when my son was in the 8th grade playing for Ruston, and before that, the 7th graders were playing. It was somewhere over, I don't remember who we were playing over in Ouachita Parish. But in the 7th grade game, whatever team from Ouachita had the game won. The ball was inside the 10-yard line. And so they were just taking knees and running the clock out. But every time he took the snap, he took a step back. And I'm like, he needs to be careful. And on the last one, he took a step back, took a knee on the goal line.
So
there was a safety, and Ruston got the ball back and won.
Oh, we're looking for sports blunders this morning. Andy chiming in on the Origin Bank text line. We had a good friend that actually coached, the late John Garris coached at Southern softball, Chuckopedia, so you can check that out. And Coach here did a very good job with that. Is to the top, Tabor. He's making his way to Pete Taylor Park today for the season finale, taking the grandkids up. And so I've decided it's a great day for baseball to go to a regional. Congratulations, Georgia Bulldogs. They've won the series. They look really good. I thought that maybe it's just their small park, but no, they can hit.
I think
Georgia's very good.
I think Georgia, Auburn, Ole Miss. That's the three right now. I feel pretty confident from the SEC can make it to Omaha.
So, told the missus this morning that you're going to a teacher leader conference, and we're a family show. And I'm like, if you're going to teacher leader, I'm taking the boys to a regional. So it was going to be a regional that perhaps the Purdue Boilermakers got into, but they've blown 2 leads to Iowa. So now they have to win today and win 3 at Omaha. So probably the Fighting Greg Goff's probably not going to make a regional. So now I'm going to flip a coin. I'm going to talk to both of the young men this morning and say, okay, you want to go to the Auburn Regional or to the Hattiesburg Regional at Pete Taylor Park? Now, the beauty of that is we're going to Pensacola Beach. I'll let you guys know what day I'm doing the show from the beach. But the beauty of it is both of those locations are closer to Pensacola Beach than Ruston. So, therefore, I will have a leg up on the journey.
I would go to Hattiesburg for the regional, go to the beach, and then on the back end, go to the super regional at Auburn.
You know, I actually like the way you think for once. This may be I got a call. I don't recall this, but I got a call from the other brother. And obviously now we're on video. We'd love for you to subscribe to the Nick Brown Show YouTube channel. And he said, well, you kind of got into it with the preacher man last week. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Did we have an argument like
I don't
2 weeks
remember.
ago?
I feel like it's kind of like this is an Italian family. And, you can get loud and disagree, but there's really not an argument.
Did you bring my coffee? I haven't Venmo'd you for the coffee. Where
Oh,
is
yeah,
it?
it's in the truck.
All right, so we do have some Southern Pecan coffee on the way. We're going to take our first break this morning because I haven't had a Pillowy Pluff delicious daylight donut.
So what did we argue about?
I have no idea.
I don't either.
I'm sure they'll text it. You listen to the Nick Brown Show on the Nick Brown Show Network. We'll be right back after this break.
Has your yard work and summer fun already put your back and neck in a bind? Bending, lifting, twisting puts additional tension and pressure on your back and neck. Once your muscles and nerves become inflamed, you start to feel the pain and stiffness, and no matter how many over-the-counter medications you take, it just won't go away. Well, it's time to call Dr. Bob Rendina at Chiro Network in Ruston. Chiropractic treatments work to get your back and neck working properly again. Play it smart. Stretch before and after. And when you need a chiropractor, call Dr. Bob Rendina at Chiro Network in Ruston.
Friends, this is Skip Russell, your #1 insurance agent in Ruston for the past 42 years. I want you to know that I would be proud to be your insurance agent. Come by and check out our new lower rates on automobile insurance. Call us at 255-5050 or come by our office at 105 Reynolds Drive in Ruston. That's behind Wendy's and Captain D's. Thank you.
ProVision Security, preserving your past, protecting your future. Cameras, doorbell cameras, systems you can control all from your smartphone. Security systems with low monthly monitoring starting at $14.99. ProVision Security is more than security. Sound systems, hanging your flat screen TV, speakers in your ceiling, even Wi-Fi systems. ProVision Security, 314 East Georgia in Ruston. Call Michael at 773-3703. Check him out on Facebook. ProVision Security.
I'm hashing over an ethical dilemma, so I think I could use some black coffee.
Of course, you can get black coffee and all your favorite coffee beverages at the Depot Coffee Shop. The Depot Coffee Shop is located at 211 West Railroad Avenue in downtown Ruston. The Depot Coffee Shop is coffee with a cause. The Depot Coffee Shop is open Monday through Thursday from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. and on Friday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Saturdays from 8 to 3. Call in your order at 232-7084 or visit the Depot Coffee Shop. You know what that sound means. It's time for the Pillowy Pluff Delicious Daylight Donut. Go visit them at 108 Monticello Avenue in Ruston, just north of I-20. They're open Monday 5:30 to 10:30 a.m., Tuesday through Friday 5:30 to 11:30 a.m., and on Saturday and Sunday from 6 to 12. Daylight Donuts of Ruston, proudly supporting the Nick Brown Show for the last 10 years. Ask for a wedding cake-filled donut. It's a Nick Brown Show favorite.
For live play-by-play and on-demand Tech broadcasts, download the La Tech Athletics app. Find also unique content on the Bulldogs and Lady Techsters, including feature stories, schedules, press conferences, podcasts, and more with the La Tech Athletics mobile app. Download today from your app store. Whether you're on the road or on campus, the La Tech Athletics app unlocks what you need to bark louder, remain loyal, and stay in the know on everything Tech by searching for La Tech Athletics wherever you get your apps. It's always game day with the La Tech Athletics app.
Get in the game. Now, back to the Nick Brown Show.
Welcome back to the Nick Brown Show, the Nick Brown Show Network. We appreciate you waking up early. You can take the Nick Brown Show with you wherever you go. All you have to do is download the Red Peach Sports app, Sports Talk 97.7. And now that the Cheer Guys come into the fold, you can catch us on Facebook, Nick Brown, or on the Nick Brown Show YouTube channel. Going to the Preacher Guy 3 weeks ago. Maybe that's what we were arguing about. 3 weeks, I asked you for some Southern Pecan coffee, and you finally came through.
Finally came through. So, yeah, you can go to the depot, get your Southern Pecan. They'll grind it up for you. And there you go.
Oh, this came in. Hold up. Quint, no option for Baton Rouge Regional. I like it. I like where Quint, Quint has really grown on me, kind of like mold. If you think about it, like he always used to really give me a hard time. But now we have a mutual understanding that I tell him when we're going to venture and talk about the Auburn Tigers to turn his radio off. And so there you go. Quint is brilliant. We have the most intelligent audience. Like, if you could read the emails, like, he breaks it down on money and revenue. The guy is a total, okay, I'll say it. He's the official accountant of the Nick Brown Show.
Yeah, he's saying he kind of like grows in the crevices and behind.
Yes,
and the next thing you know, it's just part of your house.
I think you're exactly right.
FS with a good blunder. And there's probably been, if you look at this in the history of sports, a lot of these blunders. Maybe it's more of a misjudgment, but Miami Dolphins team doctors recommend the team not sign Drew Brees, who then is signed by the Saints.
Okay, that was a blunder, but didn't Drew Brees fail that physical?
Yeah,
he failed the physical in Miami, I think.
Yeah.
I think he.
I mean, you could definitely look at a lot of draft pick blunders and things like that. Where
Tony Mandarich, Tony Mandarich.
I mean, there were a bunch of those. Tony, you talk about a steroid guy. Woo.
Yes. It had me train of thought when you went through and looking at blunders in sports. I'll tell you a scheduling blunder years ago. And go back. So this past week, by the way, this past week, we're cleaning up around the house, and it's really a great time because it is an unusual time. But number one son has moved back into the house. And daughter, Bailey, by the way, passed the Praxis exam, got her scores yesterday, so she's looking to continue in the Brown tradition of education. And I never really told this because you don't talk about your parents enough with your kids, but my mom and dad were both teachers. And it's really funny because in-laws were both teachers. Now, they went different careers, but now Bailey has decided to follow us into education. So congratulations on passing the Praxis. So if any of you are needed to hire a teacher, I know a very good one out there. She's going to get her master's from ULM. Her talents are going to be out, so she's going to do that and end up with a master's. But
maybe she'll get to do one of those, get 2 or 3 offers, get some hats out for the schools. And I'm taking my education and sent, talents to this.
I don't know what you drank yesterday, but you actually have good ideas today. This is a rare form for you. But so the Cabbage was cleaning out the storage building that we have all this stuff, just cleaning it out. He found, and I had forgotten I had these, when I graduated from Auburn, they gave you a watch with the interlocking AU on it. So I may take it and see if you can get a battery put in it. He also found the USF&G Sugar Bowl watch, and he found the Florida Citrus Bowl watch.
Oh, wow.
So he found those 3. But what he found, I thought was lost forever. The late Pam Brown, we ate cereal, and I collected the box tops. So here's the moment that like you want to cry in your kitchen when no one's there. I ordered the original Dream Team paper jacket from Kellogg's. Okay. I thought it was gone forever. Cabbage comes in and goes, "Hey, I found something, Dad. You want to look at this?" And he started bringing it out. The Dream Team was on it. Larry Bird, you're looking. I thought it was gone. It's a collector's item.
I'm
like
I'm
200
eBay,
bucks.
I'm eBaying that.
200 bucks. Well, here's like 200 bucks on eBay. But here's the beauty of this. My mom ordered that for me. We sent in the box tops. I had no idea, but it's still in the original package.
Oh, yeah.
She had it mailed to me. I think now, look back, so I must have been however old. But
Either put that one of those box frames on a wall or,
I think it's box frame on the wall.
you know, $200 isn't a ton of money. Now, if it's $2,000, you'd go, okay, that's my trip to Pensacola, or my tickets to the region.
But here's a crazy thing. He found this, and I thought it was lost forever as well. He said, "Dad, did you know you were arrested?" I'm like, yeah, no, son, I had no idea. Look at this. He found the arrest report and where I had bonded out. Guys, I thought I had 44 days in jail. I got sentenced to 85 days in jail. So may explain that non-deacon status. But anyway, it may explain why I'm always denied the right to, when you go buy a rifle or something for the kids to hunt, that I'm always put on the waiting list. But anyway.
I was wondering what that other tattoo on you was.
Here's the craziest thing. He goes, "Dad, I found," and this from Lynn Scarborough, not on today. He is working on the magazine. But we're talking about sports blunders, but going through a generation. He goes, "Dad, I found all these, they're like books. They're like, you have like 300 of them. I counted." I said, "Sports Illustrated?" He goes, "Yeah." Like these kids today, you think about that, they don't know the thrill of going to, those are things that we've lost in sports. And that's another topic for today, what we've lost in sports. The thrill of going to the mailbox and getting the Sports Illustrated. And remember, you'd open it up, faces in the crowd. Oh, don't go swim through it.
It wasn't Sports Illustrated for me. Not that I didn't read it. For me, it was that monthly East Bay.
Oh, you picked out your uniforms?
That I never did buy.
Never did buy.
Or the gloves, just the equipment, period. As a 10-year-old kid who loved playing ball, a magazine selling baseball equipment was, oh, let me look at these new cleats.
It was funny because that is definitely a Simsboro thing. I know everyone looked
No,
at it.
it wasn't just Simsboro.
But what I'm telling you is,
because
when
I went
was
to elementary school at Phillips.
When I was at the borough, every kid had that mag. Like I had to tell them to put their East Bay. Like we would reserve the last 5 minutes of
tells
class.
me how long ago you were teaching at Simsboro.
Yes, but anyway, so that is something that is lost in sports. Going to the mail and checking that out. But you talk about blunder. I think one of the blunders, and this will be a shout out to the top, safe travels today. Pat Dye for scheduling the Golden Eagles back-to-back years at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Definitely a sports blunder. How about Nick Saban calling timeout with 1 second? 1 second left on the long field goal.
Still, you got 109 yards to make a tackle.
We're looking at sports blunders this morning.
One texter says you need to keep digging in the shed. I think you'll find the rest of the stuff you're missing. Sounds like you owe your brother an apology.
No, he's not. And I'd certainly appreciate him listening. You threw away the original pair of Air Jordans. There's really nothing that you can do to make up for that. You threw away. That is the brother Dick calling, and
I just hope they don't find a body or something back there. You're saying, what is this? What is this skeleton back here?
You're a morbid human being, preacher man.
Ray Baby says, going to the draft, he said the biggest draft blunder of all time has to be the Raiders taking Jamarcus Russell. A couple other blunders that saw game 1 of the NBA Finals. J.R. Smith grabbed an offensive rebound. Thinking the Cavaliers had the lead, he dribbled the clock out.
That would indeed be a blunder.
Jim Marshall, 1964, the Vikings defensive end recovers a fumble, ran 66 yards into his own end zone for a safety, and was celebrating on the sidelines before he realized it.
Steve chiming in from Clark County said he can vouch for Tabor on the East Bay catalogs as well. Those were good times. So, yeah, that's a part of sports that is lost. you go through. But looking at sports blunders and things, we're going to talk a little college baseball here. Look at Warren Nolan, RPI, go through the SEC, but making a way to a regional. Looking forward to that. So it'll either be the Plains or Hattiesburg. Maybe To the Top could bring his camper to Pete Taylor Park, and we would have a place to stay in Auburn. Possibly staying with, you always look for those inexpensive trips. So have a roommate.
You're
from
not
college.
looking for
Well,
like.
why do you choose violence?
You know what? You are correct. You're right. What
Two men in their 50s are going to get in a fist fight.
Correct.
Just have the cat.
Equivalent like to the old Lincoln Inn,
The Gordon Motel.
The Gordon
Motel.
Just hey, how many have you got? Okay, yeah, I think there's 8 mattresses in that room.
But we started today talking about sports blunders at Catholic Baton Rouge yesterday. They ended up winning the game. Good for them, but they were going to win it a
They
lot
won
sooner.
the 15th.
Won in the 15th, but they
did play 3 games.
They played 3 games. You had a walk-off walk, and it did not count because the person that was issued the walk never
you
touched
got to
her.
get down to first.
You
and
have
then go
to.
celebrate.
That
You
poor
have to.
kid had 6 innings of stomach issues.
Love to hear from you at 888-993-7762. We're going to take a break. I'm going to refill that coffee cup. You're listening to The Nick Brown Show on the Nick Brown Show Network. We'll be right back after this break.
Here is your weather forecast from Red Peach Radio. Cloudy early today with partial sunshine expected late with a high of 87. Then coming up for this evening, a few clouds overnight with a low of 68. For your Sunday, it looks like we'll have cloudy skies early followed by partial clearing. There is a slight chance of a rain shower with a high near 85. And then for Sunday evening, partly cloudy skies during the evening. It will give way to cloudy skies overnight and a low of 73. Cloudy conditions to start your work week. A possible thunderstorm is possible and a high of 85.
This is Brandon Kraft, General Manager at Homes Plus. This tax season, we have got with our factories to offer our customers guaranteed build times. So don't just spend your tax return, invest it into the next place you will call. So come see us on Highway 165 North in Monroe or visit us at homesplus.com.
Hey guys, the gals aren't the only ones that care about their look. Let Adrian Russell or Dara Davis at La Bella Salon give you just the right hairstyle. Need a massage? Mamie Lee is their massage therapist and can work out those sore, tired muscles. Go ahead, schedule an appointment today. Call La Bella Salon 202-5848. La Bella Salon, 105 Reynolds Drive, next to Skip Russell State Farm in Ruston. What are you waiting for? Now's a great time to give them a call. La Bella Salon, 202-5848. Walk-ins welcome.
Friends, this is Skip Russell, your #1 insurance agent in Ruston for the past 42 years. I want you to know that I would be proud to be your insurance agent. Come by and check out our new lower rates on automobile insurance. Call us at 255-5050 or come by our office at 105 Reynolds Drive in Ruston. That's behind Wendy's and Captain D's. Thank you.
Don't let concerns about current events derail your long-term financial strategy. Hi, I'm Edward Jones, financial advisor Jeremy Hebert, and I'm here to help. We can work together to understand today's financial landscape and make sure you achieve your goals. While you can't control market volatility, you can control your financial future. Let's connect. Start by giving me a call at 318-251-9200.
Member SIPC.
I'm hashing over an ethical dilemma, so I think I could use some
And I realized why. And mine is not.
In your order at 232-7084 or visit the Depot Coffee Shop.
Saturday morning, sports, and the Nick Brown Show. You can't beat it.
Welcome back to the Nick Brown Show on the Nick Brown Show Network. Certainly appreciate you waking up this morning. 2 hours of caffeinated sports talk, but I do want to talk about, great job from the folks at Divine Wine, Keg, and Package as they sponsor our Bourbon of the Month. And this one, when you think of bourbon, you obviously think of Kentucky. You don't think of the Preacher Man in the state of Tennessee. But I will tell you, our Bourbon of the Month is one that I actually gave this as a gift to a brother-in-law. It's Chattanooga whiskey out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. And it's very good, and it's made with the Tennessee high malt style, which basically what that means, it's going to bring in 4 different grains, and it is very good. You have like a malt, a butterscotch type, and cocoa, a little vanilla bean. And they have 2. One is 111 proof, and the other is 91 proof. And it's actually interesting because the way that they make it, and they make it at the Riverfront Distillery. Been to Chattanooga. In fact, in college, Auburn Tigers actually played at the Roundhouse. I think Mac McCarthy was coaching the Moccasins at the time. And they have a great aquarium, but you can go visit the Riverfront Distillery. And Chattanooga whiskey is 91 proof. They have a cask strength at 111 proof. And, of course, they do offer a bottled in bond. But it's interesting how they age their bourbon, because normally you go in and you'll see the rack houses individual. Well, they have the individual, but then they combine them into one. It's called the Solar method of aging. But I recommend go buy a Divine Wine keg and package and pick up Chattanooga whiskey, our bourbon of the month here on the Nick Brown Show, but made in the Tennessee high malt style. And they launched the brand. It's actually interesting, back in 2012, and they had to change the local distilling laws to get it done. But check it out, the Riverfront Distillery.
Yeah, and you can, again, just thinking about things that you could bake with bourbon, a bourbon pecan pie. And basically, you just take your normal pecan pie recipe and you add in 2 tablespoons of bourbon, or I guess if you're from Louisiana, 4 to 6 tablespoons.
The old
bourbon.
Justin Wilson.
The Justin Wilson. Now, Justin would say you put a little bit of bourbon in your pie and a little bit of bourbon in your cup, But yeah, you can just add a little bit in there and, make a good spice up your pecan pie.
There you go. Our bourbon of the month at Tennessee Chattanooga whiskey here on the Nick Brown Show. So appreciate you listening. Doug, let's look a little college baseball from the SEC. And interesting as the final weekend of the season. And you're going to go to Hoover. Now, you could actually bypass a regional and go to Hoover. That's like a mini Omaha. But trying to decide which regional to attend. But, and also you mentioned go to a regional and go to the super regionals to go to Hattiesburg. It actually wouldn't be a bad idea because, again, you're on your way to the beach. But anyway, deciding on which regional to attend, because it is interesting. I do like going to the regionals over the super regionals because there's an excitement with the 4 teams that are playing.
Now, did you see Jim Schlossnagel's idea on the baseball? He basically added a week to the playoffs. He doesn't like the present regional format because it says it changes what you've done all year in managing your pitching. And so he would like to see 32 first-round games, and you have 32 first-round games, 2 out of 3. Then you go to 32 teams, 16 on-site campuses, 32, 2 out of 3 games, and then, get your super regional like it is, and then those 8 winners. So you add a round, but making it all 2 out of 3 with 1 team was what he thought, because he just said it's kind of sets up like the format of the rest of your season. But that was just an idea he threw out.
Do you like that?
Not particularly. I'd rather add a week to the season. I think one, like we, talking to Purdue's coach
Greg
Goff about starting the season about 2 weeks later, and then like maybe add a week to the playoffs. One is a good team; it'd give your team a week to rest. But that's how then you could add either maybe a single elimination game for about 8 teams to have a shot to get in. You could add 8 teams, and then the week later, then start your regionals.
I don't like that at all. What I would probably do is I would like to see the tournament expanded. Because
that's what I'm saying.
But what I would like to see, what you could do is very similar to what they do in the Mac Jack in Mississippi Junior College. Let's just say all of these regionals go. Now, it's going to be a disadvantage to the team that is the 5th team, no doubt about it. But I would like to see you have 16 regional sites, 16 times 4, 64. I think the day before, you bring in the 4 and 5 teams play for that 4 seed. So let's just say at Plainsman Park, you have Auburn, Purdue, Boston College, and Bethune-Cookman. You could send in a 5th team, and the 4 and 5 could play for that 4 seed.
Yeah, I think you just go back to cheer guy stats, where it was what 2 point.
Yeah, we talked about it. You're gonna have like
2.7% of
chance.
4 of the 4 seeds make it. So if you do this, you're probably talking about less than 1%.
And then now we're talking about even a harder time doing our pitching.
Yeah, I think coaches might be for it, but I think they would have to you get a week.
The 1 seed's really going to be for it because the 1 seed's not going to have to face their ace anymore.
Yeah. I think if you pushed it, like I said, if you pushed it back a week and you had whoever that 4 seed was playing whoever one of the 8 new expanded at-large teams, and they played on a Friday and then the tournament starts on Saturday, the following Thursday, I think they'd be for that. And then that gives you time to rest your pitcher. But I know just like watching Tennessee this weekend at Oklahoma, the guys that pitched on Friday and Saturday pitching on Thursday and Friday, they're not as effective with that one less day of rest. So, yeah, you'd really be, and especially with the smaller rosters, because you'd have to look at that.
Georgia atop the SEC, followed by Texas, Texas A&M, Alabama climbed into the 4th spot, Florida at the 5, Auburn dropped down to the 6, and what you miss out on is that double bye. So you're looking at Georgia, Texas, Texas A&M, Alabama with the greatest opportunity to win in Hoover if these standings hold out. And you go to the bottom, Missouri at the bottom, South Carolina, and LSU and Kentucky. And now you're watching what Vanderbilt is able to do because you're wondering who are locks into the field of 64, and we'll cover those in just a little bit. But Vanderbilt has work to do. Kentucky has work to do. LSU, unfortunately, unless they win the tournament in Hoover, they are not going to make it into the field of 64.
I think Kentucky needs to win today to get to 14, and they're probably in. Vandy maybe okay now. That overall record's not great. RPA, they've lost a lot of midweek games this year, so it'll be interesting to see. They probably don't need to go 0-1 in Hoover. I don't like the Hoover. Why don't they just do 1 versus 16, 2 versus 15, 3? Just play like that. Why do they do 9 versus 16 winners in that play, the winners in that play? Just play 1 versus 16 and roll.
You're against conference tournaments anyway.
Baseball doesn't bother me that much. Now,
we did have a
if it's a 1-bid league, but I think for baseball, for basketball, they don't bother me. Well, basketball does. SEC's pointless. Big Ten's pointless. But I don't like it that if Tech won the regular season in basketball, they can go to some tournament and your whole season's thrown out in 2 days. I don't like that. I think that disvalues the regular season.
We had a text roll in this morning say get rid of conference baseball tournaments.
I don't really think, like this year, that gives Tech hope, that they can win and they're a good baseball, team.
So here's what I hear. And Cheer Guy, what do you have to say to contribute?
I'm curious now to hear what he thinks about how the Conference USA tournament is set up.
The pods?
Yeah, with the pod play, and then because that's where, your ranking really matters, because if you're a 1 through 4 seed, you just have to win 1 game, and then you're guaranteed to make it into the semifinals because you're going to be able to get in with just one win.
That's why the Lane Burroughs squad, if they go through continue the sweep of Sam Houston, Bearcats with a K, they're looking pretty good as far. So Declan Dahl can go out and have a great night, and lo and behold, you find yourself playing for a conference championship, and you're into the. But here's what I found out. It's interesting. The preacher man is kind of a hypocrite. Because if you notice, he's against basketball tournaments because the whole regular season is discounted in 2 days. Well, what about the Conference USA Baseball Championship? The whole regular season going to be discounted.
Jackson State's going to get in. Missouri State's probably going to get in. So it's probably, does Tech or Liberty have a shot?
Which Jacksonville State's 0-2 on the weekend right now.
I know. I still think they're safe in, though.
I still think they're the best, maybe the best team in Alabama, to be honest with you. They did lose to Alabama on 2 one-run games. They defeated Auburn twice. So it's going to be interesting to see that.
I wouldn't want
team.
them in my region.
I would not either.
No.
I wouldn't want any of these teams from Sun Belt, Conference USA. Some of them are really playing some good baseball right now.
Yeah.
they're going to upset. I mean, this could possibly even be like the fewest SEC teams we've seen make it in a while, because this is probably the most at-large mid-major teams that really have a chance right now that we've seen in a while.
Absolutely. We'd love your opinion at 888-993-7762. Again, 888-993-7762. We're going to take that break, refill that coffee cup. You do the same thing. You're listening to The Nick Brown Show on the Nick Brown Show Network. We'll be right back after this break.
Okay, so clearly the word is out about Country Pleasin' sausage. Thank you for helping make Country Pleasin' your go-to sausage on game day. From original to jalapeno and cheese, black pepper cheddar, even crawfish and pork, we can't get enough at Sports Talk 97.7, and it seems like you can't either. Check for Country Pleasin' at your local retailer, and for additional flavors, check them out at countrypleasin.com. That's countrypleasin.com.
Nick Brown for All Hours Fitness Ruston. In Ruston, life doesn't stop at 5 o'clock, neither should your goals. Welcome to All Hours Fitness Ruston, your 24/7 destination for strength, health, and a better you. We've just grown. Enjoy over 15,000 square feet of premium equipment, outdoor training, and live classes. With our exclusive ladies-only area, cryotherapy, red light therapy, massage bed, and tanning, we've taken away every excuse. Locally owned, built for life. Join the family at All Hours Fitness Ruston today. When Brownie buys bourbon, it's at the Keg Package. Operating since 1972, the Keg Package has been serving the Ruston Grambling community for over 50 years. The Hightowers purchased the Keg in 2005 and built a new prime location in 2013 on the Tarbutton exit. They offer a wide variety of hard-to-find beer, wine, and liquor. They also have over 20 flavors of delicious frozen drinks. You can purchase Best Stop Boudin and sausage along with Louisiana Tech steaks. Come experience Divine Wine and the Keg Package.
Has your yard work and summer fun already put your back and neck in a bind? Bending, lifting, twisting puts additional tension and pressure on your back and neck. Once your muscles and nerves become inflamed, you start to feel the pain and stiffness, and no matter how many over-the-counter medications you take, it just won't go away. Well, it's time to call Dr. Bob Rendina at Chiro Network in Ruston. Chiropractic treatments work to get your back and neck working properly again. Play it smart. Stretch before and after. And when you need a chiropractor, call Dr. Bob Rendina at Chiro Network in Ruston.
Sexton Animal Health Center in Ruston serves your
They go to test.
Its products, services, and educational content to enhance the bond with your pet. Sexton Animal Health Center is digital radiology and dental care for their patients. And ask about pet daycare and boarding too. Sexton Animal Health Center, 1628 East Kentucky in Ruston. Become a friend on Facebook to receive the latest news and updates.
Join us for Bleed Tech Blue Radio on Tuesday nights from 6 to 7:30 p.m. on Sports Talk 97.7. I'm Ben Carlaw, owner, publisher of BleedTechBlue.com. We'll spend 90 minutes with you discussing all things Louisiana Tech athletics. We'll go behind the scenes with coaches, players, and talk all things Louisiana Tech recruiting. Join us for Bleed Tech Blue Radio every Tuesday night from 6 to 7:30 p.m. on Sports Talk 97.7 FM and SportsTalk977.com.
Thanks for tuning in to The Nick Brown Show. On the air, online, and free app.
Welcome back to The Nick Brown Show on the Nick Brown Show Network. Before I cover the field of 64 projected seedings, I'm going to go to the Preacher Man, who's really been on his game today. He brought the Pillowy Pluff Delicious Daylight Donuts. And, you know, I ventured off course today. Little blueberry action on the Daylight Donut this morning.
You know, just going back thinking about things you found in your shed that were lost, FS is just talking about things in sports that are lost. And so if you got any comments about missing any of these, box scores in the newspapers every day, pitching and hitting stats for every player in the Sunday newspaper. He said West Coast NCAA tournament games at 10:30 on Friday night. Bullpen cars bringing in relief pitchers.
Missed that, yes.
huge shoulder pads on fullbacks and linebackers, and you also remember the neck braces, the big neck braces on there. Yeah. And every NBA team having a different warm-up suit design, and then baseball players wearing stirrup socks properly. So, any comment on those or anything else you miss from sports?
One of the things that, as a manager, I had to keep up with was the shooting shirts, and they all would disappear because they were a great item to have. Like when I watch the NCAA tournament, it pains me to see teams warming up in T-shirts.
No, you don't like a good shooting shirt?
No, I love the shooting shirt. I think the T-shirt that Nike mass produces that every team has the same little slogan on in there, like "It's real" or whatever it has, whatever they say, "Don't quit," whatever it may be.
Hey, I'm going to say I like some of the 1980s warm-up suits, but
Yes.
I'll wear a Nike shirt for the amount of money they're probably paying them to put it on. I think I'd be out there shooting in that too.
But I miss the shooting shirt.
And a lot of the high schools are starting to bring back kind of the old striped Indiana style warm-ups. I've seen several over in like the Shreveport Bossier area that have gotten those.
Yeah, very, very good. Love your thoughts and opinions at 888-993-7762. Going to the SEC, Field of 64 projected. This is from Baseball America. Now, the reason we don't do D1Baseball.com is because Teddy Cahill from Baseball America has been on the Nick Brown Show. Kendall Rogers never has. Locks at Baseball America. By the way, Kendall Rogers really a huge fan of Louisiana Tech. He had Louisiana Tech and Purdue both listed as the first 4 out. A lot of work left to do. We'll look at Warren Nolan RPI and see how far they moved up. But I do want to, before I get into the Field of 64, a few years ago, Ole Miss was able to just really sneak into the Field of 64. They ended up winning the national championship that year. You know who aided that? To the top. They used the RPI points from playing the Golden Eagles. Now, usually we think of it as Alabama canceling a contest with Mercer or Auburn canceling a series against Alabama State, whoever it may be. Your thoughts on these power programs canceling games when they look at the hit their RPI is going to take by playing them?
Yeah, I noticed the last week of the season there were probably about 7 or 8 games that were canceled. So, yeah, not a fan.
Purdue canceled one with Ball State.
Well, the NCAA even put out a statement saying that the committee was going to look at those, that if you'd canceled for which, I mean, they can say that they're going to look at it all they want to. Whether or not they're actually going to is a different story. But they said they were going to look at if you canceled a game and, if it would have affected your RPI, that they were going to take that into consideration.
And
you can look in the SEC by the you can play 56 total games, and you can definitely tell that 3 or 4. Sure, there might have been a rain out or a weather early, but there were definitely some cancel outs. And I've heard some coaches, they like those, even if they're not good, because they want their guys swinging the bats. There's some arms they know they may need in regional play that they may want to get an inning in or something. So some could care less. They just want the guys keeping the swinging the bats.
You look at the Baseball America, and this is, of course, from 4 days ago, but Tennessee has to be in with what they were able to do over the University of Texas.
Yeah,
but
they beat Oklahoma the first one.
Alabama's a log, Arkansas is a log, Auburn, Florida, Georgia, Mississippi State, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Texas A&M should be in. Tennessee and Kentucky. I don't know if Kentucky's going to find their way in, or is Vanderbilt either.
Yeah, Kentucky's got Arkansas today. It's at Kentucky. They beat them the first. They've split with them so far. So they're at 13-16. I think the rule is nobody that's ever hit 13 has not made the NCAA tournament, but just because the SEC is so deep, they may need to get one more.
If that is the case, the Kentucky, Vandy, both in. They've all got the 13 conference wins. Not going to make it LSU, South Carolina, Missouri. So is it going to be a 13-bid league for the SEC?
Yeah, everything I've seen has been 12, so it'll be interesting. They may look at between Kentucky and Vandy what happens. Good chance Vandy gets another one today. They're playing South Carolina, and they've slaughtered them the first 2. So, it may depend, you get 1 or 2 in Hoover, and we'll roll from there.
All right, jumping into the G5s, G6s in our local area. You look at the Sun Belt locks, Coastal Carolina and Southern Miss should be in none. Work to do Louisiana Lafayette and the Raging Cajuns, the Jaguars of South Alabama, Texas State, and Troy. And I think any of those four are capable of going to a regional and winning a game if they are to get in.
Yes. So, yeah, none of those would be undeserving.
And then you look at Conference USA. And I think you look right now, Jacksonville State and Missouri State. And that's the thing about baseball. You look at Louisiana Tech sweeping Missouri State. Should be in as Liberty. None work to do. Louisiana Tech took.
Louisiana Tech should be there.
Well, they did. You look at Liberty. And here's the thing about baseball. You look at Louisiana Tech. They won the series at Liberty, and they swept Missouri State. So out of the 6 meetings between two teams that should be in the field of 64, Louisiana Tech has defeated them 5 out of 6 times. You go through, that is where the pod system and the way Conference USA is set up this year. You look at Louisiana Tech, if they're able to complete the sweep versus Sam Houston Bearcats with a K today, they're looking good in that pod setup.
Yeah, I agree. So that may work to their advantage. You know, it's kind of interesting with baseball versus basketball. Basketball really takes into account how you're playing, say, the last 3 or 4 weeks of the season. And Louisiana Tech's the last month has been playing really, really good baseball. But it's like they hold those early season midweek losses against you a little more, where basketball, they give you grace for early losses.
I want to tell you a team to watch out for in the Sun Belt when you go to the conference tournament in Montgomery. Don't be surprised if Arkansas State makes a run.
Yeah, they were hot at one time.
And knocks a few of these guys off in that one. And to me, when you are a G6, I'm with it with the SEC going to Hoover. It's a miniature Omaha. And a few years ago, they talked about moving it out of Hoover and moving it to Memphis. Not going to happen. You look at the Sun Belt Conference tournament, what it does. That's where not having the arms that the SEC has, like this tournament in Montgomery, unless they change the format, that could actually hurt your performance in a regional.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. I think, though, the Sun Belt is only a 10 team. And I think right now Arkansas State is actually sitting at 11.
You're a kid. So check that out. And
I'm going to double check, but I think that they're a 10. I think they're 11th right now, and I think they're only taking 10.
So they're only taking 10, and the Red Wolves are not.
Yes, they're only taking 10, and right now Sun Belt is in 11th at 12-17, with Marshall sitting above them at 13-16.
Check out what they've done, cheer guide. Arkansas State win their series with Marshall.
You know, in Arkansas State's a program that I do think could, if they'd focus on baseball a little more where they're situated, because private school baseball in Memphis is good. North Mississippi, right south of Memphis, has good baseball. You're close to Little Rock. Arkansas can't take them all. So, good year. Like I said, they just have kind of faded down the stretch.
They did not play, so I don't know what the tiebreaker would be there.
I tell you what it would do. Who is ahead? Who's the top of the conference?
Southern Miss.
All right. How did Arkansas State do versus Southern Miss? How did Marshall do versus Southern Miss? That's the way most tiebreakers work. You go to how did they do versus the league leaders?
Let's see. Arkansas State went 2-1 against Southern Miss.
To the top.
And let's see what Marshall did. Marshall did not play Southern Miss, it appears.
So you'd have to look for the common opponent, but you could put in Arkansas State over by virtue. So you would go to the highest seeded, highest finisher that they both share a common opponent and how they did versus them. So you looked at they both play Coastal. It might be a situation where you go down to they didn't play each other, so I'd like Arkansas State in there.
But they've got to take care of South Alabama today first because they lost to South Alabama last night.
Oh, they're not getting in then. The Jaguars, and those listening on Smash Hits 94.5 will remember the Jaguars in their heyday. I remember Ken Higginbotham, a neighbor of ours, had a huge neighborhood. And Higginbotham played at South Alabama for a year. And we went to Mobile to see the Jaguars play Auburn. They were actually led by Eddie Stanky from MLB. And I remember that there was a runner from Auburn. He stole the base. He called him out. He was obviously safe, and he wouldn't leave the base. Paul Nix was the head coach of the Auburn Tigers at the time. I think he was ejected, went down for the next game, and they didn't go. Auburn didn't show up. They were in the hotel at the swimming pool just chilling. They didn't go play the Sunday game. Like, what would happen now if they just didn't go an out-of-conference game, you just didn't show up?
Ray Baby says it is bullcrap, Nick. If you're on the schedule, you should play the game. FS thinks canceled games should be an automatic loss with a corresponding RPI hit, financial penalties.
There you go. Love your thoughts and opinions as well. The most intelligent audience in all of sports radio. What we were talking about is you saw a lot of games in college baseball be canceled this past week because the teams did not want to take an RPI hit. You are listening to the Nick Brown Show on the Nick Brown Show Network. We come back, we'll look at a little Warren Nolan RPI on the Nick Brown Show.
Has your yard work and summer fun already put your back and neck in a bind? Bending, lifting, twisting puts additional tension and pressure on your back and neck. Once your muscles and nerves become inflamed, you start to feel the pain and stiffness, and no matter how many over-the-counter medications you take, it just won't go away. Well, it's time to call Dr. Bob Rendina at Chiro Network in Ruston. Chiropractic treatments work to get your back and neck working properly again. Play it smart. Stretch before and after. And when you need a chiropractor, call Dr. Bob Rendina at Chiro Network in Ruston.
Friends, this is Skip Russell, your #1 insurance agent in Ruston for the past 42 years. I want you to know that I would be proud to be your insurance agent. Come by and check out our new lower rates on automobile insurance. Call us at 255-5050 or come by our office at 105 Reynolds Drive in Ruston. That's behind Wendy's and Captain D's. Thank you.
Provision Security, preserving your past, protecting your future. Cameras, doorbell cameras, systems you can control all from your smartphone. Security systems with low monthly monitoring starting at $14.99. Provision Security is more than security. Sound systems, hanging your flat screen TV, speakers in your ceiling, even Wi-Fi systems. Provision Security, 314 East Georgia in Ruston. Call Michael at 773-3703. Check him out on Facebook. Provision Security.
I'm hashing over an ethical dilemma, so I think I could use some black coffee.
Of course, you can get black coffee and all your favorite coffee beverages at the Depot Coffee Shop. The Depot Coffee Shop is located at 211 West Railroad Avenue in downtown Ruston. The Depot Coffee Shop is coffee with a cause. The Depot Coffee Shop is open Monday through Thursday from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. and on Friday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Saturdays from 8 to 3. Call in your order at 232-7084 or visit the Depot Coffee Shop. You know what that sound means. It's time for the Pillowy Pluff Delicious Daylight Donut. Go visit them at 108 Monticello Avenue in Ruston, just north of I-20. They're open Monday, 5:30 to 10:30 a.m., Tuesday through Friday, 5:30 to 11:30 a.m., and on Saturday and Sunday from 6 to 12. Daylight Donuts of Ruston, proudly supporting the Nick Brown Show for the last 10 years. Ask for a wedding cake-filled donut. It's a Nick Brown Show favorite.
I'm Kyle Schasberger, voice of the Bulldogs, asking you to subscribe to the Tech Drive podcast. We're taking you behind the scenes with coaches, student athletes, and staff who power Tech athletics. From game recaps and program updates to raw conversations and untold stories, this is your fast lane to everything La Tech sports. New video and audio content drops weekly, so bark louder and subscribe now to Tech Drive on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, or anywhere you podcast.
Sports Talk, Southern Style, on the Nick Brown Show.
Welcome back to the Nick Brown Show on the Nick Brown Show Network. Appreciate you waking up early on this Saturday morning. Love to hear from you on the Origin Bank hotline and text line. And that number, 888-993-7762. Again, 888-993-7762. Only one number you have to remember. You can text or call, 888-993-7762. Interesting looking at Warren Nolan RPI. Tarleton State is in 61st. Louisiana Tech 62nd. Right below is LSU at 63. A lot of work left to do for both programs. Baseball America has Louisiana Tech as the first team out. Now, normally I think when you look at an at-large, you need to be in the 40s. They're going to play Sam Houston State, Bearcats with a K, today. How much work is left to do? Is there any chance, other than winning the Conference USA tournament, of getting in as an at-large?
I think they can still get, and that's where I think the pool play may benefit them too, is you're going to get guaranteed more than one game in the tournament. And so, you still may see a little bit of movement, but playing Sam Houston State, they're probably not going to be moving up any because they've won 2 and haven't moved in the live RPI this weekend. So I think they're just going to have to take care of work in some of that pool play and get into those semifinal games to at least have a shot.
And 4 spots above them at 58th is Arkansas State, who may not even make the conference tournament. So you have to go through. You could realistically go through and look at every one of these. South Alabama is above at 60, but you go through, okay, if Arkansas State doesn't make the Sun Belt tournament, they're out. You go look at Purdue. Now, Purdue has been the big drop. They are now at 54th. They had moved up to 47th and really had an opportunity to get an at-large bid, but dropping 2 to Iowa has really hurt their chances. They'll have to win 1 today and go win 3 in Omaha at the Big Ten tournament.
Well, and you were talking about Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's all the way down at 73. Even with 13 wins in the SEC, I don't know that.
Yeah, of course, South Carolina's not helping them.
Right,
and
they're
beating South Carolina, and that's not helping them.
And they haven't moved so far right now with the RPI, but I don't think that at 73, I don't know if
I don't think they're an at-large.
Yeah, I think that takes them out.
I think you look at Vanderbilt, Kentucky, Missouri, South Carolina, and LSU, and you're looking at an 11-bid league out of the SEC.
And you talk about canceling those midweek games because of RPI, Vanderbilt would be better off playing some weaker midweek games because they play some tough midweek games, and they've lost a bunch of tough, so it hadn't helped them.
Well, but here's the thing. It is better to play a tough opponent and lose than play a weaker opponent and win. And with that, we go to the accountant of the Nick Brown Show. That is Quint. Good morning, Quint. How are you?
Good morning, guys. How are y'all?
We are doing great. The company is great, but the Pillowy Fluff Delicious Daylight Donuts are better.
Oh, so the donuts are better than Preacher Man?
Oh, absolutely. And cheer
if I wasn't getting the donuts, I wouldn't be on here.
That's probably right.
Oh, there's no probably to it.
Hey, I kind of had a different take on this whole RPI situation about the schools canceling stuff. Why don't we make baseball more like football and make it to where you can't actually lose RPIs by who you schedule? I mean, let's stop and think about this. If Georgia or LSU or Tennessee, which Tennessee probably couldn't win it, but if they schedule the school of the deaf and blind and run them over 70-0, we kind of roll our eyes, but they don't generally drop in the polls because of that. We kind of understand that, and it seems like baseball takes special care to punish the good teams for scheduling any type of a break in their schedule. And, I mean, sometimes these weaker games are breaks, but sometimes from like LSU, when they schedule the in-state schools, it's a way to boost the local economy, too. So, I mean, there's good coming out of these games, and I don't know why the NCAA is insistent on punishing these schools for scheduling those games.
I think you look at it, Quint, and this is an Auburn slant for just a minute. You got to give credit to Butch Thompson and the Auburn Tigers. Not only did they play a midweek game against a G6 team, they actually went on the road to do that, but that is an anomaly. You just don't see that this late in the year, a Power 4 program going on the road to play a G6.
Well, hold on, Nick. Let's take our orange and blue goggles off. If Jacksonville State was ranked 100 in the RPI, they wouldn't have played that game. They only played them because they know that Jacksonville State's better than Auburn, and they knew that they knew that was going to be a tough tune-up for the SEC tournament.
Okay, but they still, Quint, like you look at Purdue, they dropped Ball State. You go through and look, they still went. Why don't you look at the schedules? Let's do that. Preacher Man, bring up the schedules of the SEC from this past Wednesday, and let's see how they did with that. But you just don't see really many from the SEC canceling, but we don't see them making the schedules that they do. But I'm with you. Like, they're not going to punish Ohio State for playing the Bobcats of Ohio from the MAC during the regular season.
Right. I mean, I don't see where it's worth punishing. I mean, I can see where you wouldn't really go up any in the polls because you are wanting to help the schools that do the tough schedule. But sometimes, like I say, sometimes there's a lot of other reasons for these games getting scheduled besides just the baseball on the field. I mean, I don't want to live in a world where Tech never plays LSU because LSU is scared of what's going to do to their RPI.
And I think some of the difference may be that in football, like Alabama's playing Chattanooga this year, they could schedule that game 100 times. Alabama's going to win it every single time. I think baseball may be the only sport, though, where, realistically, any night, if you've got a pitcher on the mound that's dealing, I mean, anybody could beat anyone. And so I almost wonder if it's more of you don't want to lose the game, even though you should win. You don't want to lose it to one of those low RPI schools and then just take the landslide.
And also, I think go ahead.
Well, and going back to that comment, I think that's your second option. If you're still going to count these RPIs against them, if these bigger schools cancel these games and there's any fishiness about why they cancel, the cancellation should count as a loss to the Power 4 team and double the bang of losing points. I mean, this isn't fair to these small schools, and especially if the small school is hosting. If the small school is hosting, there needs to be some mathematical thing built into where the big school has to pay them for the money they lost by not being able to host that game.
All right, couple of things. I agree with a lot of what the points that you are making this morning on the Nick Brown Show, the most intelligent audience in all of sports radio. But you look at this past weekend, this past week in SEC baseball. Belmont was scheduled to play Tennessee, and they played. Tennessee won that one 11-1. Interesting, Kentucky, who is on the bubble of getting into an NCAA regional at-large bid, canceled their game with Northern Kentucky. South Carolina, no chance of getting in. They played their game with UT Martin. With Winthrop. Ole Miss played UT Martin, and by the way, 17-6. Their player got the home run record for Ole Miss. Auburn, Jacksonville State. So there you go. They did not cancel that. The only one that canceled was Kentucky, and they're the only ones that really could have been affected by the loss.
And yeah, I would think that. So playing that game could have hurt their postseason chances. So of course they're running away from that game as fast as they can. I mean, I'll take my Auburn bias off. Auburn's high enough up that if they win that game, great. If they lose that game, it's not going to hurt them that bad.
And
because
now,
Jacksonville State is
Well, I'm gonna go through and say something with you that one thing you run into normally, like Jacksonville State. Who is Jacksonville State playing this weekend? Cheer guy. Who is Jacksonville State playing?
Dallas Baptist, I think.
Yeah, DBU.
Okay,
DBU.
now that is an anomaly, but you look normally, and I'll go back to the days when Greg Goff was coaching at Louisiana Tech. They would play Arkansas and Ole Miss. They would throw their Friday night guy. They would throw their dude in that midweek game because beating an Arkansas or Ole Miss during the midweek was greater than what they were facing on the weekend. So in other words, you don't have to worry about it because you're playing whoever it may be, Old Dominion on the weekend. So you go with it and you throw your guy.
Yeah.
You had a few other cancellations that might have been. Arizona State canceled against Grand Canyon, and Grand Canyon is a solid club, so that might have been that. Virginia Tech canceled versus Marshall, and we know Marshall's kind of on the bubble in their conference. East Carolina, they are on the bubble, and they canceled versus Campbell. So you had a few of those bubble ones that definitely canceled.
Well, Preacher Man, you said East Carolina's on the bubble.
Well, I mean,
the last number. Well, no, I'm saying this is kind of a little bit of irony too. All these schools that left the Sun Belt and Conference USA to go to what's supposed to be the Great American Athletic Conference.
Good point.
They're supposed to be a single bid league this year by most people's standards.
Great
So
point.
that just shows that the grass ain't always greener on the other side. Sometimes it's just the septic tank leaking.
All right, Quint, man, we appreciate your call. Bring up a lot of great points.
Is that a tax write-off?
Yeah,
Your
yeah, it
septic
is.
tank
Yeah, it
leaking?
is.
Okay, good.
Thanks for listening, Quint. You have a great weekend.
Thanks, guys.
You can call just like Quint did at 888-993-7762 to get into the Origin Bank hotline and text line.
Siggs chiming in, and he says that he loves tuning in to the Nick Brown Show and listening to Sunbelt baseball conversation.
I tell you, great league. I love, of course, grew up watching, like I say, the Jaguars down at Mobile. I remember when the early days of the Sun Belt Conference. I'll tell you a program that really has done itself an injustice, and they've moved away from their market nose listing and smash hits 94.5. But UAB is a program with its root in the Sun Belt Conference, and you looked at what they're able to do. They spent some time in Conference USA. They moved. Their identity should be Sun Belt or Conference USA, but American Athletic Conference is not. You think on the surface it's going to be a better league, but you know what? You'll find that those living in Mountain Brook, Hoover, they don't really care about the teams that are in the American. We're going to take that break. Appreciate Siggs texting in. Listen to the Nick Brown Show, the Nick Brown Show Network. We'll be right back.
Here is your weather forecast from Red Peach Radio. Cloudy early today with partial sunshine expected late with a high of 87. Then coming up for this evening, a few clouds overnight with a low of 68. For your Sunday, it looks like we'll have cloudy skies early followed by partial clearing. There is a slight chance of a rain shower with a high near 85. And then for Sunday evening, partly cloudy skies during the evening. It will give way to cloudy skies overnight and a low of 73. Cloudy conditions to start your work week. A possible thunderstorm is possible and a high of 85.
This is Brandon Kraft, General Manager at Homes Plus. This tax season, we have gotten with our factories to offer our customers guaranteed build times. So don't just spend your tax return, invest it into the next place you will call home. And everyone be on the lookout for the all-new tiny home coming soon.
Get the plus. Homes Plus.
So come see us on Highway 165 North in Monroe or visit us at homesplus.com.
Hey guys, the gals aren't the only ones that care about their look. Let Adrian Russell or Dara Davis at LaBella Salon give you just the right hairstyle. Need a massage? Mamie Lee is their massage therapist and can work out those sore, tired muscles. Go ahead, schedule an appointment today. Call LaBella Salon 202-5848. LaBella Salon, 105 Reynolds Drive, next to Skip Russell State Farm in Ruston. What are you waiting for? Now's a great time to give them a call. LaBella Salon, 202-5848. Walk-ins welcome.
Friends, this is Skip Russell, your #1 insurance agent in Ruston for the past 42 years. I want you to know that I would be proud to be your insurance agent. Come by and check out our new lower rates on automobile insurance. Call us at 255-5050 or come by our office at 105 Reynolds Drive in Ruston. That's behind Wendy's and Captain D's. Thank you.
Don't let concerns about current events derail your long-term financial strategy. Hi, I'm Edward Jones, financial advisor Jeremy Hebert, and I'm here to help. We can work together to understand today's financial landscape and make sure you achieve your goals. While you can't control market volatility, you can control your financial future. Let's connect. Start by giving me a call at 318-251-9200.
Member SIPC.
I'm hashing over an ethical dilemma, so I think I could use some black coffee.
Of course, you can get black coffee and all your favorite coffee beverages at the Depot Coffee Shop. The Depot Coffee Shop is located at 211 West Railroad Avenue in downtown Ruston. The Depot Coffee Shop is coffee with a cause. The Depot Coffee Shop is open Monday through Thursday from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. and on Friday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Saturdays from 8 to 3. Call in your order at 232-7084 or visit the Depot Coffee Shop.
Get in the game. Now, back to the Nick Brown Show.
Welcome back to the Nick Brown Show, the Nick Brown Show Network. We've talked Warren Nolan, RPI, looked at Sunbelt Conference USA baseball as well.
I would have thought Liberty's fight song would have been like something out of the hymn book. Onward,
Of course you would.
Onward Christian Soldiers or something.
You want Sister Vestal up there singing?
Yeah, Sister Vestal singing, yeah.
The Flames of Liberty.
The Flames of Liberty.
Yeah, not a bad thought.
Ray Baby is not a fan of RPI and all that junk. He thinks it's subjective, can be solved by simply making playoff participants earn their way in by wins and losses. Like I've said, we're trying to fix a system that we believe is broken. When the system is not broken, it's working as designed. The system feeds off controversy and conflict and produces many of both.
Well, I will say this, Ray Baby. I normally don't disagree.
Conflict and controversy.
I don't normally don't disagree with Ray Baby, but I will today because not all wins are equal. Not all wins are, they're not. I mean, you could schedule a MEAC, SWAC, and like Bethune-Cookman went very good this year. They've gone out and won against a lot of high-quality power programs. But normally that is not the case. You look, let's just say Tennessee. Tennessee could schedule Middle Tennessee, UT Martin, Belmont, name of other schools in Tennessee that you guys played.
Chattanooga, East
East Tennessee.
Belmont, Lipscomb.
Okay. You could play those guys, and that is not equivalent to LSU play like LSU. Take LSU. They could make a schedule with Tulane, Lafayette, Monroe. You go through. So I do understand what you're saying. A lot goes into it, and that's why you look, all right, we'll talk about high school just for a minute. You look at the schedule that Ruston High's head coach Jared Ball puts in place, and those on Smash Hits 94.5 would love to see a matchup between the Jackson Aggies and the Ruston Bearcats. You could just meet in like McGee, Mississippi. I know you've been saying it for years, Tabor, but like you guys, we can meet in McGee or Mendenhall, because you're not going to do like where they're going to come 6.5, 7 hours. So go 3 hours. Can meet in Hattiesburg. Play at M.M. Roberts Stadium on a Thursday night. To the top. But here's the thing. The schedule that he builds is so strong that it really doesn't matter. Like the Longview playing the Lobos of Longview. Playing Odessa, Midland, whoever it may be. Now with Carroll, Edna Carr, you can afford to take a bye week. And so for the first time in 10 years, there is a bye week. And I can tell you, when does Auburn and Tennessee play?
I believe is it the first week in October?
So October 3rd, is that what it is? That's Saturday?
I believe.
So I will be in attendance. That means on October the 3rd, the Nick Brown Show will originate from, I've already put in, like when the school year starts, I'm putting in for 2 days off already, personal days. One's going to be that Friday. So Thursday night, we're loading up the wagons and we're headed to Knoxville. And then in December, same thing, headed to Orlando. Not to watch a game. But mind you, because the schedule is so strong, you can afford to have a bye week and rest your players. Now,
so what about the opposite of that? Even in high school football, just playing somebody that would play you where your backups could play.
Okay, here's the thing. Let's take the bye week out and schedule. Nothing against the fine folks of Winfield. I think that would be a game that the Bearcats are favored in. And Jonesboro Hodge. So, are you going to play that where John Tabor, your third-string center, has not played at all this season, but you're going to put him that game, what it does, what's more important, playing your third string or playing for a state championship? Because could both of those happen? Yes. But are you going to take a dip? We know that when you get the first round bye in the playoffs, I'm with you. I totally get it, but home field advantage throughout the playoffs is worth something. And unfortunately, what happens when you play a team on your schedule that is you're heavily favored in, it diminishes your chances of getting the bye and being home field advantage throughout the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I guess it's just also just rewarding those guys that have been there for 18 weeks and they want to get in a game. They want to run out there and play. So this is that balance, hopefully that your schedule is so strong that something like that doesn't give you that big of a dip. But
those are definitely good points that you bring up. And
let's see. Got a couple more texts here. He says, FS says, I've been to McGee, Mississippi, where Highway 28 meets 49.
Yeah, McGee, is that home of the Mangum brothers? that played at Ole Miss and Alabama, or did they go to Mendenhall? I think McGee is home of the Mangum brothers. Chris played baseball. One of them played tight end at Ole Miss, and the other played baseball at Mississippi State. I think they're from McGee.
You know, and Ray says, well, if those teams don't help you, then don't schedule them. I think there's that balance, too, by playing the in-state teams. Yeah, I think it's good for those other in-state teams. But also, baseball loses money, and that makes a bus trip that you can take, you know. And if the big boys are losing money, the little boys are really losing money. So you help them out a little bit by, you know, they get to schedule a game that's a bus trip away. You probably are paying them a little something, at least enough maybe to cover their bus fare coming. So, I mean, I don't have a problem with – I think you got to have a mix of games that are solid RPI, but then also as the season goes along, most of the big schools are using those games to get in freshman arms, transfer arms, some other guys into the lineup.
Speaking of sports blunders, we started the show that way. How would you like to lose this way? Northridge baseball forfeits game in Alabama High School Athletic Association semifinal for rules violation. They had to forfeit a win against Spain Park after a pitch count rule violation. The violation came in the bottom of the 7th inning with the bases loaded and 1 out. Spain Park's count had Northridge pitcher Evan Malone at 120 pitches. 119. This late in the season, should pitch counts matter? I mean, I know we're talking about player safety, but at this point, should pitch counts matter in the playoffs?
I think it should, because especially with your top end talent, they've got a future beyond the level they're currently playing, and you've got to protect guys from themselves.
You think an overzealous coach would just pitch him till his arm fell off?
Especially in a state tournament type atmosphere, absolutely. Because at the end of the day, a lot of these coaches, whether right or wrong or indifferent, are coaching to win more than to develop.
Is the rule if you throw 20 pitches, do you have to sit a day, even if you're under the pitch count?
I don't know. Everybody's got their own.
I mean, I didn't know if it's a rule that you have to sit a day. I know there's a pitch count rule. But
well, the rules say that a pitcher who is a junior or senior, and Malone, the pitcher is a senior, cannot throw more than 120 pitches per day. Now, Spain Park's game changer had him with 124 pitches, while Northridge had him at 123. Here's the difference. If you're under the count, you can start the next batter and complete him. So you're at 119, you come up, I can pitch to you in its entirety. But
if it's a 10-pitch at bat.
Correct. Now, here's the thing. Whose count is correct? You have conflicting, so that's what
I would imagine the designated home team.
I think you're right, and that's who.
So it says 120 pitches a day, so can you come back the next day and just throw?
No. I mean, you wouldn't.
No,
I know you wouldn't, but
I
just didn't know.
Legally, maybe, but
I mean, I know you wouldn't.
I don't know.
But
Again,
I didn't know
each federation's probably got their own rules.
Yeah, NFHS, who most of them use, is if you throw between 1 and 30, you have to take a day of rest.
So you could throw 2 pitches and you have to take a day of rest?
That's how the NFHS is set up. It's
wow.
1 to 30 pitches thrown, 1 day of rest, and it says a day of rest is not a 24-hour window, but is a calendar day.
Yeah. See, I don't agree with that, because if you got a guy who's a relief pitcher and he comes in and throws 15, 20 pitches, he ought to be able to come in the next day and throw 15 or 20 pitches.
Yeah, you're mid guy. You're closer. I got you.
Yeah. I get, your starter throws, I don't know. I think you could put that number out there if you're over 40 or 50 pitches. Okay.
Well, so to make Preacher Man happy, in Louisiana, from 1 to 34 pitches, you do not have to take a day of rest.
That's a good rule.
And I agree with that. If you come in for literally the last batter and you get 2 pitches and you get them.
I don't know. I have no earthly idea what the Tennessee rule is.
Love to hear from you at 888-993-7762. That is the Origin Bank hotline and text line. And we're talking about sports blunders. Of course, that's one out of the state of Alabama, as Northridge had to forfeit the game to Spain Park due to a pitch count violation.
I already got it.
You got it.
1 to 25 in Tennessee, no days of rest.
Okay.
So we get 9 more pitches in Louisiana.
Get 9 more.
Yeah.
Got better arms.
No doubt about it. And we'll check. We're going to give one more final. Is look up the Alabama rule. on that resting. We're going to take a break. Preacher Man is out. He is going to do great work. The military appreciation.
And hey, we got a handful of pork chops left, so somebody out there served, and you want to come by First Baptist, then you served in some capacity, come by and get your pork chop.
Military appreciation lunch over at First Baptist in Ruston. We're going to take a break. We're out of coffee, but we still have Piddly Pluff Delicious Daylight Donuts. Listen to the Nick Brown Show on the Nick Brown Show Network. We'll be right back.
Okay, so clearly the word is out about Country Pleasin' sausage. Thank you for helping make Country Pleasin' your go-to sausage on game day. From original to jalapeno and cheese, black pepper cheddar, even crawfish and pork, we can't get enough at Sports Talk 97.7, and it seems like you can't either. Check for Country Pleasin' at your local retailer, and for additional flavors, check them out at countrypleasin.com. That's countrypleasin.com.
Nick Brown for All Hours Fitness Ruston. In Ruston, life doesn't stop at 5 o'clock, neither should your goals. Welcome to All Hours Fitness Ruston, your 24/7 destination for strength, health, and a better you. We've just grown. Enjoy over 15,000 square feet of premium equipment, outdoor training, and live classes. With our exclusive ladies-only area, cryotherapy, red light therapy, massage bed, and tanning, we've taken away every excuse. Locally owned, built for life. Join the family at All Hours Fitness Ruston today. When Brownie buys bourbon, it's at the Keg Package. Operating since 1972, the Keg Package has been serving the Ruston Grambling community for over 50 years. The Hightowers purchased the Keg in 2005 and built a new prime location in 2013 on the Tarbutton exit. They offer a wide variety of hard-to-find beer, wine, and liquor. They also have over 20 flavors of delicious frozen drinks. You can purchase Best Stop Boudin and sausage along with Louisiana Tech steaks. Come experience Divine Wine and the Keg Package.
Has your yard work and summer fun already put your back and neck in a bind? Bending, lifting, twisting puts additional tension and pressure on your back and neck. Once your muscles and nerves become inflamed, you start to feel the pain and stiffness, and no matter how many over-the-counter medications you take, it just won't go away. Well, it's time to call Dr. Bob Rendina at Chiro Network in Ruston. Chiropractic treatments work to get your back and neck working properly again. Play it smart. Stretch before and after. And when you need a chiropractor, call Dr. Bob Rendina at Chiro Network in Ruston.
Sexton Animal Health Center in Ruston serves your pet and you, providing high-quality pet health and wellness services to assist your pet in living a longer, happier, and healthier life, and providing you with access to leading-edge products, services, and educational content to enhance the bond with your pet. Sexton Animal Health Center is a full-service veterinary medical facility, providing the best possible medical, surgical, digital radiology, and dental care for their patients. And ask about pet daycare and boarding, too. Sexton Animal Health Center, 1628 East Kentucky in Ruston. Become a friend on Facebook to receive the latest news and updates.
Hey, Tech fans! Want to know what's going on inside La Tech Athletics? Join us each week for Bleed Tech Blue Radio, Tuesdays at 6 on Sports Talk 97.7.
Oh, man.
You caught yourself and corrected it immediately, so. But I'm like, man,
Saturday morning, sports, and the Nick Brown Show. You can't beat it.
Welcome back to the Nick Brown Show, the Nick Brown Show Network. Started the show talking about sports blunders. Then we read that one about state of Alabama. And Steve chiming in. In the state of Alabama, if you pitch 1 through 25 pitches, no rest. 26 through 50, 1 day. 51 through 75, 2 days. And 76 plus 3 days. But you found something interesting going to your guy about the ages of the pitchers in the state of Alabama. And here's the thing. Wouldn't it be great if you had a national rule? Like here's is, it doesn't matter if you're in the state of Alabama, the state of Tennessee. Here they are. They're exactly the same. Now, I made a great point about Louisiana has better because you can go through 34 pitches. And then Cheer Guy says, well, you could look at that a different way. You could look at it that they care about the arms more in Alabama, second in Tennessee, and third in Louisiana. So interesting stuff you found out this morning.
Yeah, and also the fact that in Alabama it's different based on the grade that the athlete is in. 11th and 12th graders and varsity pitchers, 120 pitches is the max. 9th and 10th graders can go up to 100, and then 7th and 8th graders, 85 pitches. And then also they give you a little fine if you go over as well. So you have to forfeit and you get a little fine. So maybe it means a little bit more to the program to make sure they stay under that count. But going back to what you said about Louisiana allowing the most, maybe it just means a little bit more.
You go through, it's interesting because when you read that about 7th and 8th graders, in Louisiana, a little different, but in Alabama, I think about a school like Leroy, right across over the Tombigbee River in Washington County, a baseball factory. You had Butch Bracken coaching there at one time, and the state championships that program has won. And I think, that you could realistically have an 8th grade arm. You could have a 9th grade arm, but you go through and look in maybe Mobile or Birmingham, Spain Park, wherever you may be, you might not have that 9th grade arm is on freshman ball or JV. And so it goes with that. But we're talking about sports blunders this morning on the Nick Brown Show. I always love to hear from you on the Origin Bank hotline and text line at 888-993-7762. And I've been decided about what regional to go to, May 29th, 30th, and 31st, and leave for the beach on June the 1st. Now, Auburn Regional further away, Hattiesburg closer, but both of them you're closer to Pensacola Beach. The one thing, if you're at Auburn, you do have shade. There is no shade at Pete Taylor Park.
And that's a big factor end of May, early June. You're going to need that shade. I think that you're just going to have to wait until the field comes out, though. I mean, I think that can make the big deciding factor of who's going to be at each regional because, I know that your heart's in Auburn already. So that's, I don't even know why we're even discussing this is if you're going to go somewhere else, if you've already got to go that direction. But, you're just trying to make excuses and make it seem like you're thinking.
No, I would not mind going to Hattiesburg. But if you look at through all the parts of all the programs, like who needs a renovation? And I know that everybody loves Pete Taylor Park. It's great. Well, to the top, Tabor can't stand it. But here's the thing. Like that needs, there should be a renovation in that baseball program. You go through and look. Now, I think that Louisiana Tech should run them down the baselines. The original plans that I saw, someone mentioned Grand Canyon earlier today. I think Preacherman did. That's where the park plans came from. I think you definitely you ought to have shade. I mean, your fan base is an older fan base, or even if you're not, you want to stay away from skin cancer. So I think that really, Pete Taylor Park needs a renovation.
And you're not calling for a major renovation. You're just, because you want to keep the outfield the same way. That's one of the great, traditions they've got over there. But I think that, when you're hosting regionals, you need to have covered shade. So what about this? Should there be a minimum requirement of shade to host a regional?
You just, you're going straight for the jugular. How do you tell a program that? I mean, think about the parks that you've been to. And I love watching. That's the beauty. And I'm not a paid endorsement for Watch ESPN. But I love watching the different ballparks. Like I love Kennesaw. You go into the Carolinas, the backdrop is beautiful. But you mentioned that. I will tell you, if they came in and do a renovation of Pete Taylor Park, the first thing they're going to say is, we're going to cut down the pine trees in the right field and the roost is going to become some type of suite like Duty Noble. But how do you keep and it's not a redneck aspect, but how do you keep and not a roughneck aspect, how do you keep I don't know what you say, how you describe the roost at Pete Taylor Park, because it's not a suite. It's not like Duty No. Like you're out there with a cooler and your Michelob
It's like
Ultra.
a good Southern tailgate.
It's a tailgate in the outfield.
Yeah, it's just a good Southern tailgate. You've got guys with, barrel grills out there and just cooking up a storm probably. And I think that it's one of, like you said, it's one of those great things in college baseball that just gives it its own aspect that's different.
And I'll ask our listeners as we wind down the show today, the favorite college baseball park that you have been to. But I'm with you. I don't think you make it a requirement, but I think if I'm the Golden Eagles, and there's a great chance that program hosts a super, depending on how it falls out. It's interesting to watch. Like, they won't admit it this weekend, but Golden Eagle fans are actually pulling for Ole Miss over Alabama because you don't want to be paired. Those are two teams right now that are very hot in college baseball. And I would, depending on how the national seeds fall out, if I'm a Golden Eagle fan, I wouldn't want to go to Tuscaloosa for a super regional, but I wouldn't want Alabama coming to Pete Taylor Park. But I think Jeremy McClain, athletic director for Southern Miss, has to say, you know what? We need to do something about covered seating. You have to have it.
Yeah, and especially, I mean, we've talked about it before on here. Like, if I'm Southern Miss, I'm pumping a lot of money into my baseball program because baseball's been the one sport there that's been really consistent over the past few years and is probably one of the few mid-major schools that is always in the rankings and is always close to, either hosting a regional or is hosting a regional. And so I think that from a fan aspect that you need to show, even from a recruiting aspect, you need to show that you're putting money into that program. And I think that something as simple as just covering your infield grandstands could make a world of difference from a recruitment standpoint.
Yeah, you go through. I love different parts. I'd like to know that ULM is playing Troy today, and I think they're playing them tomorrow. Well, why don't we do? We'll do that in the final segment. We'll run down Conference USA and Sun Belt. But I would like to go see a game from ULM behind home plate. I don't know what the ticket prices are to get into the club behind there. But that's where I would like to watch.
Yeah, I think that's one of the cool things in college baseball around here too, especially for a mid-major program, like to be able to literally stand behind home plate. And they've got the little bar tables and stuff. And my in-laws have watched a few games from back there, and it just looks like it's just a good time with good view of the game that you don't get at a lot of parks, because at a lot of them you're up above home plate.
All right, I know that nobody asked me, but I want you to watch a game from the Love Shack. If you look behind home plate, there's a little plexiglass window. And I know that's got to be I would say lawnmowers, but you don't cut anything with turf. I think you go in underneath there and turn that into a little lounge area. And you watch the game from right there. I think that would be phenomenal. I think Georgia has that.
That's what I was about to look up. I was thinking that Georgia has that back there, like a little, almost like a little
club
door.
Yeah.
And it's got that little, it almost looks like a hockey rink.
Correct. And you watch it behind there. I would love to see a game from there. There's a few things that, not like the club amenities of going through, but your thoughts and opinions are always welcome at 888-993-7762. We're going to take our final break. We come back. We're going to look at schedules in Conference USA, Sun Belt, and the SEC on this Saturday. Listening to The Nick Brown Show, the Nick Brown Show Network. We'll be right back.
Has your yard work and summer fun already put your back and neck in a bind? Bending, lifting, twisting puts additional tension and pressure on your back and neck. Once your muscles and nerves become inflamed, you start to feel the pain and stiffness, and no matter how many over-the-counter medications you take, it just won't go away. Well, it's time to call Dr. Bob Rendina at Chiro Network in Ruston. Chiropractic treatments work to get your back and neck working properly again. Play it smart. Stretch before and after. And when you need a chiropractor, call Dr. Bob Rendina at Chiro Network in Ruston.
Friends, this is Skip Russell, your #1 insurance agent in Ruston for the past 42 years. I want you to know that I would be proud to be your insurance agent. Come by and check out our new lower rates on automobile insurance. Call us at 255-5050 or come by our office at 105 Reynolds Drive in Ruston. That's behind Wendy's and Captain D's. Thank you.
Provision Security, preserving your past, protecting your future. Cameras, doorbell cameras, systems you can control all from your smartphone. Security systems with low monthly monitoring starting at $14.99. Provision Security is more than security. Sound systems, hanging your flat screen TV, speakers in your ceiling, even Wi-Fi systems. Provision Security, 314 East Georgia in Ruston. Call Michael at 773-3703. Check him out on Facebook. Provision Security. Thanks for tuning in to the Nick Brown Show.
I'm hashing over an ethical dilemma, so I think I could use some black coffee.
Of course, you can get black coffee and all your favorite coffee beverages at the Depot Coffee Shop. The Depot Coffee Shop is located at 211 West Railroad Avenue in downtown Ruston. The Depot Coffee Shop is coffee with a cause. The Depot Coffee Shop is open Monday through Thursday from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. and on Friday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Saturdays from 8 to 3. Call in your order at 232-7084 or visit the Depot Coffee Shop. You know what that sound means. It's time for the Pillowy Pluff Delicious Daylight Donut. Go visit them at 108 Monticello Avenue in Ruston, just north of I-20. They're open Monday 5:30 to 10:30 a.m., Tuesday through Friday 5:30 to 11:30 a.m., and on Saturday and Sunday from 6 to 12. Daylight Donuts of Ruston, proudly supporting the Nick Brown Show for the last 10 years. Ask for a wedding cake-filled donut. It's a Nick Brown Show favorite.
Choose the Champs Kids Club for your little Bulldogs and Lady Texters at home. Your child will receive season tickets to all Tech home games and an exclusive Champs Kids Club membership box. Lanyard and credential, cooling towel, duck call, t-shirt, clear crossbody bag, and wall flag. Plus, there's exclusive access to special Kids Club events, game day opportunities, and more. For more information, contact the Tech Ticket Office at 318-257-3631 or visit lawtechsports.com. Have your littles bark louder with Champs Kids Club.
Sports Talk, Southern Style, on the Nick Brown Show.
Welcome back to the Nick Brown Show on the Nick Brown Show Network. We're going to look at Conference USA schedule for today and then jump into how it works for the pod seeding at the conference tournament in Kennesaw, Georgia. Now, it is beneficial for Louisiana Tech. They've actually played a road series at Kennesaw, taking on the Owls. But Western Kentucky and Delaware are going to play at 10 o'clock today in Newark, Delaware. Missouri State will be at Kennesaw State. Sam Houston, Bearcats with a K, which I love their old school caps. Saw them play, I always wanted one, but they're going to play Louisiana Tech today at 1 o'clock at the Love Shack. Liberty, the Flames of Liberty at Middle Tennessee State. Jacksonville State will be at Dallas Baptist. FIU will be at New Mexico State. And it was interesting because I was in the gym working out at all hours, 24-hour fitness, work out when you want to. It was interesting because we were talking about college baseball. And one of the persons that was working out, we brought up the fact years ago when Louisiana Tech was hosting the Western Athletic Conference tournament, but actually didn't qualify. And I went by. It's one of the, just a different feel, but we're working, cheer guy, looking at how the pod, like, where would Louisiana Tech be in the pod if the season ended today? And let's, Sam Houston Bearcats with a K, hopefully get the sweep over the Bearcats.
Yeah, so right now, there's a 3-pod system or 3-pool system, Pool A, Pool B, Pool C. Each one will have 3 teams. Pool A will have the 1, 6, and 9 seed. Pool B will have the 2, 5, and 8. And Pool C will have the 3, 4, and 7. So as of right now, if the season ended today, Louisiana Tech would be the 4 seed, I believe. And so that would put them in Pool C. And so what will happen is if they were in Pool C, they would play the 7 seed on Wednesday. They would have Thursday off. And then on Friday would play the 3 seed. And the top 4 teams out of the pools who have the best record will advance to the semifinals. And the tiebreaker is going to be the top seeded team entering. So you want to be a 1 through 4 seed because at that point you've got to win at least one game and you're going to be into the semifinals.
All right, so who would be right now if Louisiana Tech went in, as you said, the 3 seed?
I believe they would be the 4th right now.
4 seed. So who would be in the pod with Louisiana Tech? And it's going to be interesting to watch this pod system.
So let's see. If Louisiana Tech is sitting at 4, yeah, they're currently sitting at 4. So they would be in there with Missouri State and Middle Tennessee State as well.
Now, it is interesting because you say, well, why? You're listening on Smash Hits 94.5 in Jackson, Alabama, or listening here on Sports Talk 97.7. You would say, why in the world would you do this? This sounds like something out of Travel Ball. I can tell you a few years ago, and what you have noticed through the past, you were out of gas. I went to Grapefruit IPA from BMO, and the way Louisiana Tech played, it was a great tournament. But what you had was the fact you were out of gas. The team was out of gas. And so if you can preserve your arms, I mean, let's face it, your power programs should have better arms than your G6 programs. So anything you can do to preserve your arms, that's what you're going to do. So
yeah, and at the end of the day, now you only have to win 3 games. Ideally, you would have to win 4, but if you're the 1 seed and you can win 1 game in the opening round, you're going to make the semifinals, and if you can win that and then the championship game, you really just have to win 3 games to win the whole tournament. If you're a lower seed, you're going to have to win 4, but like you said, it builds in a rest day, so you're still basically doing a double elimination because with the pool play, everyone's going to get to play at least twice. So you're going to have essentially a double elimination with a built-in rest day because at some point you're going to be off in your pool for the day. And so I think it's just a different way of looking at it. And also, like we talked about earlier, those RPI, it may help some of those because if the season ended right now, Louisiana Tech's guaranteed to play Missouri State, and so that's going to help your RPI if you can get a win there. And so I think it's a different way, and it's something that from a marketing standpoint, it's probably getting Conference USA some talks on several radio stations. It's allowing them to, get some more viewership.
All right, let's jump into the Sun Belt because you mentioned earlier, Cheer Guy, that 10 teams would make the conference tournament, which is held in Montgomery at the Biscuits Minor League Park. Right now, Southern Miss atop 21-8, Coastal Carolina also 21-8. The Golden Eagles of Southern Miss on an 8-game winning streak. But a look at the bottom local team, Louisiana Monroe. You mentioned, so your top 10 teams, Southern Miss, Coastal Carolina, App State, South Alabama. There's your top 4. Troy is 5th. Louisiana Lafayette is 6th. Texas State 7th. Old Dominion 8th. Georgia State 9th. Marshall is 10th. Now, here's the thing. Georgia State, Marshall, Arkansas State, and ULM tied at 12 and 17. If ULM can... We're going to look at the schedules of who they have. What does ULM have to do? Can they play their way in to the tournament and get that 10th spot going through and look at ULM head-to-head versus Marshall and who Marshall, Arkansas State, and ULM all have?
Yes, that's what we'd have to look and see what the actual tiebreaker is going to be if they're using whatever common opponent, if there is one. So we would have to look at that. But Georgia State, Marshall, Arkansas State, and ULM are all playing today essentially for those last 2 spots in. Georgia State and Marshall just have to win, and then Arkansas State and ULM both need Georgia State and Marshall to lose. And then kind of just looking at the Sun Belt schedule for today, Old Dominion is hosting James Madison, Georgia State hosting App State, both of those first pitch at noon. Southern Miss is hosting Georgia Southern. ULM, so one of those teams that is in control and needs a little bit of help, is hosting Troy. Texas State and Marshall. South Alabama is hosting Arkansas State. All of those games first pitch at 1.
So if you're a ULM fan, you need South Alabama to defeat Arkansas State. You need Marshall to lose to
Texas State.
And you need
Georgia State to fall to App State.
And all of those teams are playing a team ranked above them, so it is indeed a possibility.
It is. And then Louisiana Lafayette hosting Coastal Carolina down in Lafayette, and that first pitch is at 2.
So the possibility you look at it for Pemberton in his first year at ULM right now, the Warhawks are 27-27 overall, 12 and 17 at the league. If they could win 2 and go to 14-17 in conference play, defeat Troy today, defeat Troy tomorrow.
Well, today's going to be their last game.
Their last game.
Yeah,
rather.
so it's all going to be figured out today. Yeah.
So 13-17 rather. They can defeat Troy today, 13-17. Georgia State, Marshall. Let's just say Georgia, Marshall, and Arkansas State all lose. If Arkansas State loses, they're 12-18. They're gone. Let's look at Georgia State and Marshall versus ULM this year, because it is a distinct possibility that Georgia State loses and goes to 13-17, Marshall 13-17. If all 3 of those teams have the identical 13-17 record, who is going to get that final spot?
And that's why I'm looking right now to see on the Sunbelt website what the tiebreaker actually is. It looks like each team's winning percentage versus the team occupying the highest position. So we're going to need to see who we would have to find a common opponent
I'll tell you
for
what,
them.
we've got 9 minutes left in the show. You look Georgia State, Marshall, and Arkansas State and see Arkansas State's going to be out. They're going to lose. They're going to go to 12-18. So Marshall, Georgia State, how they fared. I think since it's would be a three-way tie, and that's what you're going to need, essentially it is going to go to how they did against the highest-rated opponent. What did ULM do versus Southern Miss? What did Marshall do against Southern Miss? What did Georgia State do against Southern Miss? And I think you go there and check it out and see, and if they indeed played each other. So I believe ULM was 0-3 against Southern Miss, but I will check that out.
ULM was 0-3 against Southern Miss. I'm trying to see if Marshall played Southern Miss this season or not.
I tell you what, you check out Marshall, and I will check out Georgia State.
They did not, so it means you're going to have to go to Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina, Arkansas State was 0-3.
Well, Arkansas State's out of the equation
Or-
because if they win, they're going to be, you're looking at a four-way. So I think you'd have to. Have they all played?
And ULM didn't play Coastal Carolina, so who knows? at
So
this
now,
point.
now you're going to go through. It's going to be interesting for the Sun Belt Conference to figure that out. But there is a chance if you finish with 13 and 17 records, all finish with that. But you got to go out and do one thing. You got to do out and win today versus Troy, and so
Here, you'll enjoy this, though. The last tiebreaker. So if they're not able to find a common opponent, or if with the common opponent there is still a tie, guess what the tiebreaker is?
flip a coin.
It is a flip of a coin.
There you go. Absolutely love it. Appreciate you listening to the Nick Brown Show today. Thanks to Steve back on Smash Hits 94.5 in Jackson, Alabama. We invite you to go follow and subscribe to the Nick Brown Show YouTube channel. Really love to have you do that. That's the Nick Brown Show YouTube channel where you can watch us every Saturday morning, and there'll be videos posted, our Bourbon of the Week videos posted there as well. For John Tabor, for the Preacher Man, for the Cheer Guy, I am Nick Brown. Until next week, as